In this video, I'm making this balloon boy figure from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie in real life. First, I started by 3D modeling it, which seemed super difficult at first since I'm still pretty new to 3D modeling. After that, I scaled it to about 13 centimeters tall and started printing it. It didn't look very good after printing it, and the propeller broke off. It took a long time to print, so I didn't really want to redo the whole thing. So I redid the whole thing. The main problem was that my filament wasn't dry enough and the propeller was too thin. After printing it, it worked great with only a few imperfections, and the propeller was a lot more sturdy. To smooth out the layer lines, I was originally just going to sand it a ton and prime it, but after sanding it a little bit, I realized that it would take a long time, and I'm too lazy to do that, so I started doing some research. I found a few videos saying that brushing on a mixture of acetone and wood filler fully removed the layer lines, and didn't take long at all. So I went and got some wood filler and acetone, and I started brushing it on. For the first coat, I had way too much acetone, and it was almost completely liquid. Then the second coat, I didn't have enough acetone, and it was way too thick, but I eventually got it right. After adding a few more coats, I sanded it down again, and the layer lines were almost entirely gone. I mean, it still isn't perfect, but unless you really look, you're not seeing any layer line. I went outside and primed it again, which smoothed it out just a little bit more, and now I'm ready to paint it. I worked from the bottom to the top, but saving the balloon and sign for last. In a lot of the places where I needed a lot of layers to paint, I did some off camera, but for the most part, I recorded it all. Okay, so I wasn't recording, but I dropped him. Here are his remains. Luckily, nothing else was damaged other than his propeller and balloon, and even the propeller broke off of its pole. But this will actually make it easier to paint because, like, the balloon was really close to his head earlier, and the propeller was even closer to the balloon. So it will make it easier to paint, but it's still kind of annoying. When I got to the balloon, I was really struggling, but eventually made this template out of painter's tape and painted on the red over the yellow. The painting was by far the hardest part of this project, but I eventually finished and I think it turned out amazing. After painting it, I sprayed on this acrylic clear coat to make the whole thing glossy, and it looks amazing. Just look at this picture before and then after I put it on. The final thing I did before this project was done was adding this piece of felt on the bottom right under the base. After that, it's officially finished. Here's what it looks like from all angles and a shot from the movie I recreated. This took a long time to make and I put a lot of effort into it, so before you leave, please consider liking the video and subscribing, since it really helps out and it'll help me create more cool things like this in the future.